It's Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. This is the Rolling Thunder podcast. He's Ryan.
He's Chris.
Ryan, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Yeah?
No complaints.
There's plenty of people around us complaining for various reasons that they are all correct for.
Yes. And two cats that like to cause a whole bunch of ruckus, except Chewy right now. He seems pretty content.
Mischief. Well, he's waiting to chew wires. That's what he's doing.
That's true.
Hence the name, not because you're a giant Star Wars nerd. He chews wires and Soka's on the counter. You mother... Oh, can't do much about that from here.
Nope.
Welcome to the show, Ryan. What's going on, man?
Not much. Got a show, I guess...
Tonight.
Yeah, in North Vancouver.
That's good. I imagine it'll be a shorter podcast this week because we'll try to keep it easy because the podcast's already late, and
yeah,
that's okay.
Less work for you.
Not much less, but definitely less.
Yeah. I love how last week we said the podcast was going to be nice and short. And then I die on the microphone. Okay, this is awesome.
You okay, pal?
Emma, don't worry about it. It's okay. Sit down.
Do you need a glass of...
No, I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Well, not now.
I know.
You might as well have a drink.
Okay.
So we said last week it was going to be short.
And it ended up being 45 minutes long.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the average length of our podcasts, so...
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
So, you got a show tonight?
Yeah, and then we got one on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, we'll, talk about that during our little pitch roll at the end.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a new club that's been set up by a couple of local comedians we know. So it should be pretty good.
Yeah, and not only that, I heard they're looking to open a Yuck Yucks in downtown Vancouver.
Oh, really?
Fairly soon, so that's happening. Which,
Where?
that I don't know just yet. Everyone's being kind of tight-lipped about that, and that's...
Is it going to be Gary?
As far as I'm aware, but even that I'm not sure. I would imagine so, because why not,
It's another club that won't hire me.
I was going to say the same thing about me.
Yeah.
It's another club that I can't work at.
Yeah. So that was wonderful news.
That's... What are you talking about? We did a whole weekend of Rolling Thunder.
I'm just messing with you, man. I'm on their wall.
I'm not. And I'm the one who's rostered with Yuck Yucks.
Well, to be fair, Gary's trying to get me rostered too, so.
Yes, I am well aware of that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah, long time coming.
Yep.
But it's nice to finally get acknowledged. I feel like Roman Reigns. Acknowledge me! Yeah. Okay, wrestling reference.
Yeah.
And I probably said that too loud.
Yeah, probably. I'm assuming so.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So people are only going to listen to the first 3.5 minutes of the podcast and then turn it off.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
How long do they have to listen before it counts as a view? That's what we need to know.
I don't know. I don't care. I'm doing this
either.
for fun and
Yeah, exactly.
start clipping it up and getting that thing moving.
And we got to get started somewhere, right?
Yeah, well, also, I got to finish all my moving stuff to get my shit sorted. But I'm pretty much completely done over at the duplex now, which is good. All right.
And you know, live in a cupboard in my house? Yeah, you do.
I mean, pretty much. It's about the size of the room, so.
Harry Potter under the stairs, yeah. Have you got your notice to tell you that you've been accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry?
I do take the train every morning, so.
You get on platform 9.5.
Yeah.
I'm pulling out all sorts of Harry Potter references right now. That's
And
pretty...
I have no idea what any of them are.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised, being you're such a nerd.
Yeah, that's true. So when we recorded last week, we recorded before the election.
Yeah.
That was interesting to go. So last week, we talked about the unfortunate death of Kathleen McGee, and
Yes.
this week we are talking about the death of America, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't, everyone, by everyone, I mean every, person who would identify as a Democrat or is, very left-wing is acting like it's the end of the world. It's not,
It's going to be like a circus down there, though.
I don't even think that's the case. I mean, it's the old, this thing isn't working, let's try another thing. No, that's not working, let's go back to that first thing.
Well, that's the problem with America, though, the two-party system.
I mean, essentially, we have a two-party system.
Yeah, because...
Federally, I mean, it's like, yes, we have the Green Party, which might get a seat. Yes, we've got, Bloc Québécois, which gets a seat, but only in Quebec, not...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
federally, it's...
we do have the NDP, though, and the Conservatives.
Yes. But, federally, it's federally speaking, it's basically the Liberals and the Conservatives.
Yeah.
Because the NDP is, they're like the super woke, which anyone who's relatively center will go with the party that's relatively center at that point, which ends up being the Liberals, who, are left on certain things, right on certain things, which I think the majority of people generally are that way anyways.
Mm-hmm. I also think it really doesn't matter who gets voted in because they're all corrupt assholes anyway, so...
Yeah. Well, it's like that bit that Colin Quinn does about, calling them corrupt, saying, oh, they're corrupt. They get money from these companies, and then when they get elected in, they do their bidding. And he goes, yeah, but what's worse? Taking their money and helping them out, or just taking their money and then being like, go fuck yourself?
Yeah, it's true.
When you really think about it.
It's true.
I love comedy with, a great point like that you don't think of.
So you don't like your own stuff, then?
There's a couple jokes in there.
I couldn't help it, sorry.
There's a couple in there.
So you don't like any of my jokes, then?
That's not true either.
No, I'm good at what I do. Never mind.
Yeah. You are absolutely good at what you do. And I like some of it.
Yeah, well,
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you liked it all, it'd be a little weird.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's, I don't know. What do you think about what's going on?
I think it's going to be like the Wild West in the United States, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. It really scares me when they talk about, sovereign borders and this is our land. And I mean, there are certain situations where I do believe that countries should take care of their own people first before they start helping out the rest of the world. I don't understand, for example, the fact that I've been receiving the same amount of money since 1998 from my disability pension, and they don't increase it for inflation or anything, but yet they were giving people $2,000 a month at home to stay home during the pandemic.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was.
I barely have enough
It's,
to cover my bills, so I have to run around the lower mainland doing shows just so I can survive, which is fine. It's what I love to do, but it shouldn't be like the only option I have, so it's frustrating. I don't know how to word it without sounding, I don't want people to feel sorry for me, but I don't want to sound like I'm complaining either, so.
I mean, listen, realistically, yeah, the fact that you haven't gotten a bump in, your, whatever they call it, an allowance or whatever, it is bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get all inside baseball here, but I wonder if there's like some advocate service that you could talk to get that bumped up, because
I've spoken to multiple social workers, and they all tell me that I'm receiving the max benefits that a person with disabilities can receive, which is ridiculous when they don't consider, like I said, they don't consider the price of food now, or rent, or anything like that, even the price of gas.
Well, I mean, realistically, you're looking at how, westernized governments treat their own constituents, period. It's...
Yeah, I guess so. They only want to look after corporate and big money people, so.
Yeah. I look at, all these people who were behind Trump. Like, there's this real estate sales guy, Grant Cardone, who, I follow some of his stuff, and he was like bullish on Trump, which was interesting because he'd go on stage and go like, I'm a small business owner. And it's like, you have a portfolio of like billions of dollars of real estate. That is not small business.
Yeah.
Like, small business is like 7 figures, not 10 or 11 figures. It's insane that like, and there were people watching it going like, oh, he's a small business owner. Like, no, he's not. He's really not.
Well, it was like when Howie Mandel tried to buy Just for Laughs, and he kicked everybody except his friends off all the streaming sites that had recordings, and then he's like going back and doing this, oh, I'm just like one of you. Meanwhile, he's in his multi-million-dollar mansion sitting behind his baby grand piano giving the I'm just like you speech. It's like you're not, at one point in your life you might have been like us, but you're not like us anymore, man. So
doing that while he's blowing a glove over his head.
Yeah, because he doesn't want other people to breathe in his vicinity. Yeah.
You're all germy. Get out of here.
I should go touch him and see if he wakes up in a wheelchair.
You should lick him. That's what you should do. You should try to lick him.
Lick him. I'll pull the, not Mark Savard, Marchand.
Brad Marchand. You bite him.
Didn't he lick somebody too?
Yeah, he also bit someone too. That was like early Brad Marchand. That's a weird one where like people talk about how much they love him now as a hockey player, and it's like he's always been kind of a piece of shit on the ice.
He's one of those players that you hate him when he's not on your team.
I was going to say, and you love him when he is. Yeah. He's like Claude Lemieux was like that.
My Oilers have Corey Perry.
Yep.
Prime example of two.
Sean Avery.
Yeah.
If you're watching hockey, you hate Sean Avery. Unless you're, Alicia Cuthbert. And then...
But Alicia Cuthbert is married to...
Alicia Phaneuf. Yeah, she's married to Dion Phaneuf now.
Yeah.
That's...
Which is...
Because I think Sean Avery was the one that fucking called her sloppy seconds and then got suspended for a couple games for it.
He did. I remember it. I remember.
Oh, like hockey players don't. That's the most hilarious thing. Is like I think we were talking about this the other day, where I was explaining to you how like HBO did this NHL 24/7 series where the build up was to like the Winter Classic, and the first season that they did was the Penguins and the Capitals.
Okay.
So they're following these teams along for like months, like 2 months leading up, basically.
Okay.
And there's certain parts of it that were like hysterical. First of all, Bruce Boudreau at the time was the coach of the Washington Capitals. Mm-hmm. And he's like Christmas shopping with his daughter, and they're in the mall. And he's like, hey, you guys want ice cream? And his daughter's like, it's not even 10 a.m. Like,
That's funny.
and he's like, oh, it's always a good time for ice cream.
That's funny.
The fucking guy is so funny.
I agree,
So-
though. There's any time is a good time for ice cream. Because
I'm not saying I disagree either, but also sometimes have a little bit of decorum. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Just the slightest bit. You
But he
know?
meant even playing up to the cameras, too.
No,
No, he just wanted ice cream.
he just wanted ice cream.
Okay.
You half the scenes he's eating. He's like Phil Esposito during the Summit series, basically. It's ridiculous.
That's funny. That's a deep cut right there.
So like they're following these players around and like the teams and that they're following but they're filming like on ice play, and they've got like the cameras like going through the glass with like the satellite microphone type deal,
Okay.
so you can hear what the players are saying. And these players are just like, fuck that, you fucking cocksucker. This is bullshit, ref. Use your fucking eyes, fuck sakes. He fucking hit me, fuck that guy, he's a piece of shit. Like, it's wild. It's fucking wild that if I was a ref, I'd be throwing out gross misconducts, like, all the time.
No one gets a gross misconduct anymore because
Oh, you
all
need
that.
to say some wild shit to do that.
yeah.
I think one of the last gross misconducts that I saw, and I'm sure there's been one since, but one of the last ones that I saw was like someone got into it with Jordan Tutu and said something, and then all of a sudden they both get sent to the box, and Jordan Tutu gets like 2 minutes for roughing, and the other guy gets 2 for roughing and a 10-minute gross misconduct.
All
And I
right.
was like, oh, that was a racial slur right there for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
It's ridiculous that they can just, like, they say whatever they want to the ref, and the refs just take it. It's the one sporting profession where like, the refs really take that amount of abuse. Football, they'll throw an unsportsmanlike flag, you know? Like soccer, they'll card someone immediately. You want to talk shit? Fuck you, yellow card, right?
Because the refs want all the control. And look at the NBA games where that guy was
where they're like
shaving
betting?
points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just bringing people to the line because you know that they'll score less that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. But like on the other hand, like it's one of those things where that seeing how they speak to the refs and that.
Yeah.
But then it's like if you ever watch anything like rugby, when you watch that, they're always like, "Yes, sir. Oh, it's no problem." Like,
Yeah, it's very polite.
and you think like these are just thugs on the field. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of pride and tradition steeped in rugby, so
sure.
I can see why that. Yeah. Whereas like hockey. Like, I've been to, like, even my friends' kids that play just, like, house hockey. Some of the parents are the fucking worst out of everybody. Like, saying all sorts of stuff to the other team's kids and everything. Yeah.
I remember this years and years ago, they used to do this tour where it was like NHL Legends. They'd call it the Legends Tour. And it was basically you're watching a bunch of old timers play like a pickup game for fun, and they're raising some money for charity and that. And Maurice Richard was reffing the game.
Okay.
And he blows a call. And it was one of my favorite elementary school teachers. Her husband stands up and shouts, "Hey, maybe you need some glasses, Richard." And he said, and Richard shoots him, like looks directly up in the stands. And he's just like, "I'm going to sit down. I'm going to say nothing now." Like,
That's funny. That's funny. I've seen parents get kicked out of Pee Wee hockey games because of the stuff they say.
yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I never dealt with very many team sports. Like, I skied and everything, but my dad was never, like, yelling at the slalom course or anything like that.
Yeah, but, I mean, we deal with hecklers, though. Like,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
that's
What-
not too different.
What's one of the meanest things a heckler said to you? Or
One of the meanest, like something
just uncalled for?
uncalled for. I mean, just when we did Yuck Yucks
Yeah.
last month, I had this. I talk about how I look how I look short. I am short. I talk
also
about
look
being
short.
short off the top.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, yeah, I'm short. And this guy was sitting with his wife, and he just leans over and goes, "And ugly."
No. Well,
And I'm telling you right now, the only two people that heard it was his wife and me.
Yeah.
That's it. And I couldn't go after him, because it was right off the top of the show. Like, what am I going to do? Just stop the show?
Yeah, and alienate the crowd already. Yeah.
Trying to think.
Someone yelled at me once when I was wheeling onto the stage at the Comedy Mix. Some drunk dude yelled, "Get the fucking triple off stage," before I even said anything. I was just wheeling up to the mic stand.
Oh, I was in Port Alberni, and I get introduced. I'm walking up. I don't even get to the mic stand. This guy in the front goes, "Oh, a midget." And I was like, in my head, I'm just like, ignore it. Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Just do your jokes. And I do my first joke, and it barely gets anything. And I do my second joke, and it barely gets anything. And I snapped on this guy. I was like, "Dude, fuck you, you bald fuck." Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, "How dare you?" And then, dude, I had to claw to get them back on my side. And eventually I did, but I was not happy with how it went down.
Yeah.
And
I think people forget sometimes that we're humans too. Like, we can still hear them. They're not at home watching us over TV.
yeah. Well, I ended up, the promoter of the show was I got off stage. He's like, "Man, why do you go after that guy right at the start? Like, what the fuck?" And I was like, he called me a midget, and he's like, "Lean into it." And I was like, I tried doing that. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't doing well. And
Yeah.
I go, "Listen, I lost my temper. That has nothing to do with," and he didn't realize until after the show, because it turns out this guy is the headliner's wife's uncle.
Okay.
So, like, he comes up after the show and just apologizes to me. He's like, I'm really sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm just like,
Well,
no
at least
shit.
you apologize.
No shit, you shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, right? But it was like one of those situations where I'm just like, this fucking guy, and I get off stage, and like I said, the promoter's upset with me about it because from his perspective, he didn't hear what that guy
Yeah,
said.
you were just
So
attacking the audience.
I just attack the audience after
Yeah.
2 jokes don't work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then after the show, the guy tells the promoter, he's like, yeah, you know, I called him a midget before I even got to the mic. And the guy's like, wait, before you got to the mic? I was like, yeah, before I got to the mic. And he's like, dude, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, fuck that guy. And I was like, okay, all right. But like, I got them back, and I got them well enough that like multiple people, like I stepped outside midway during the headliner set, and like multiple people came out, and they were like, you were way better, and which I don't think is necessarily true, but you know, just one of those situations.
You gonna be okay, Em?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
Yeah.
We might have
no,
to.
it's fine.
Life happens.
Yeah. So
I have another question. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I asked you what was one of your worst experiences? What was one of your best experiences with an audience member?
Oh, how about you go first?
Okay, because I can.
Yeah.
Mine came to.
Here, you start telling that. I'll fix your hat.
Okay. I guess mine would have to be, like 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
I was opening for Erica Sigurdsson at Hecklers in Victoria, BC, and I had a really good set. And then I had like multiple people coming up to me after the show, like, "Oh, you did awesome! Like, how can we support you? I want to buy a T-shirt," that sort of thing. So I'm dealing with people as that's going on, and then this man who's in maybe his early 30s, late 20s, comes up to me and he's in tears, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what did I do to make you like cry?" I'm going back in my head like, did I say it? Like, because we're always dealing with the occasional drunk person. So I'm like, did he like say something during the show and I kind of went after him? But then I'm like, it wasn't that kind of show, so I don't think I did. But then he pulled me aside and he goes, do you mind if I talk to you for a second? I'm like, sure. And he told me that he had a 3-year-old son that just got diagnosed with quad spastic cerebral palsy, which is the same condition I have. And it was his first child, and he was, because when it's your first kid, when it's your kid anyway, you just want the best for them, and you want them to grow up happy and healthy and live their dreams and stuff like that. So when you get diagnosed with a major disability, that can really affect the parents a lot, right? So he was like, these are tears of joy, because seeing you doing what you're doing and living your dream as a professional comedian, and how much joy and stuff you bring people, it gives me hope for my son. And it was just really one of those moments where I was like, this is why at the end of the day I'm doing what I do. Like, yeah, I love performing and I want to make people laugh, but if I can make an impact like that, that's why I'm here, you know? So
Yeah. I misunderstood the question. I assumed, which I'm glad I had you answer first, because I assumed that was like, what was the best experience you had with a heckler, not what's like a kind thing someone has said
I'm sorry.
to you. Like,
I shouldn't.
So
I should have rephrased the question.
I had some lady come up to me when I recorded my debut album,
Yeah.
and she said to me after, she was like, I got a bone to pick with you. And I was like, what? Why? What's going on? And she's like, I had to get up and leave the room midway through because I started having contractions because I was laughing so hard, and you almost sent me into premature labor.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was like, nice. All right.
Yeah, that's a cool feeling where you're making somebody laugh so hard they
Yeah.
want to pop the kid out.
Something like that happens, or yeah.
Yeah.
I remember watching a comic before me when I was doing a show where I was working on this one-man show that never saw the light of day, where it was going to be half stand-up and then half me telling a story.
Okay.
So I was invited to do a show, and it was just like, just do the story. And I'm like, it's like a 25-minute story. Like, it's got bits in it, but it's, it's like a 25-minute story. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. Robert Pang was the comic before me, and he crushed so hard that it was like a backyard show.
Okay.
The guy who runs the show, his wife, had to like walk this lady into her house to find a new pair because the lady pissed her pants. She was laughing so hard. And for like 3 weeks, Robert was kind of upset about it, thinking he had walked someone. He's like, I thought I was doing good, and I walked someone.
That's funny.
I was like, nah, she peed her pants. So,
That's funny.
all right. What's like a good experience that you had with a heckler? Like either you smash them really hard, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I okay. Can I flip it a bit?
yeah.
So, back when Yuck Yucks Vancouver was on 12th and Cambie, I went out to see. I forget his first name. Why is it? Why do I forget his first name?
What's the
now?
last name?
Saint Germain.
Dan St. Germain.
Yeah, that's it. And so anyway, I just got released from the hospital, and a mutual friend of ours, Doug, phoned me, and he's like, "Man, you've been in the hospital for almost 3 weeks. Like, I know you don't feel like leaving the house, but just come to the club, and I'll get you in, and just watch the show." So, so I was like, okay. And so I was kind of like, I don't know if you remember how the lighting of that club was set up, but if you were on the side of the stage, you were kind of in the shadows.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that's where they had me park because of my wheelchair. So he gets on stage and he hears from the host, oh, there's a really drunk person in the crowd. So just be prepared for it. But what he didn't know, and the host didn't know, is right before he came on stage, they kicked him out. So, and you and I both know, when I get laughing, I can kind of bounce around in my chair, right?
Yeah.
So I'm constantly having to readjust myself from when I bounce around, and then so he thought I was the drunk guy. So he took it upon himself to come after me, and the people around me could see that I'm in a wheelchair and see that I wasn't drunk, but because he couldn't really see who I was, it just looked like a drunk dude in a hoodie, you know?
Yeah.
Because I had my hood up and everything too, because honestly, I was like maybe 9 hours out of the hospital.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to be comfortable. So I was in my comfy clothes and just a hoodie. And so he thought I was the drunk heckler that was causing the whole show problems.
Mhm.
Like the opening act basically came off stage in tears. The host was having a hard time with this person, and that's why they kicked him out before Dan came out. So then he starts coming after me
Yeah.
and just like throwing major insults and like to the point where I can't even remember some of the things he was saying because I was like, why is he doing this? I'm just here to watch the show. And then he realizes, because he gets them to turn the house lights up, that I'm in a wheelchair and I wasn't this drunk guy. So I yell out, man, you're one of my favorites. I'm just here to see you. And for the next 15 minutes of his set, the crowd just completely turned on him.
Yeah.
And they were totally on my side. And they started cheering for me. I'm
Yeah.
like, because then I yell out, I'm a comic too. And then people in the crowd are like, put the guy in the wheelchair on stage. Put the guy in the wheelchair on stage. And I'm like, I'm not here to do that. I'm trying to let Dan know that, listen, man, I'm the last person that's going to cause shit at a show because I know what it's like
Yeah.
to have those kind of people. Because this is what I do. Right? And that's probably one of the funniest moments I ever had with the... I know it's not like a positive experience, but I just felt like sharing that story. Because then a few months ago, my van had Sirius XM radio for a while, and my caregivers and I would often listen to the comedy channels when we're driving, and Dancer Jermaine is on stage in New York City, and he's telling the story about Vancouver and the heckler and then attacking a guy in a wheelchair. And I look at Emma, my caregiver, and I'm like, he's talking about me right now. He's talking about me. So it was just one of those funny fucking things that happen in our business.
Nice.
Yeah.
With that said, we should wrap this up. November 15th, I'm at Last Laughs.
We're at Last Laughs.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I get to open for you, which means I'm gonna bury you. I'm gonna bury you like an avalanche, my friend.
That's probably exactly what's gonna happen. You'll watch me kick and scream and claw my way to a mediocre set.
Yes.
But you know me. I wouldn't have it any other way.
I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either, because when I'm on a show, regardless of how I feel, I'm going to give you 100% me every time. So, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like if it was the other way around. If like I was dropping a hot 20.
Yeah, well, that too. I would expect that out of you. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got up? That's the 21st.
Yeah, we got the 21st. We got the show at the Galaxy Public House in White Rock.
Yeah, I will be
hosting a show in Vancouver.
I'm doing a spot at the show in Vancouver, but that's something I booked a long time ago, or else I would have been hosting Galaxy. I'm doing the Show Lounge down on Davie and Pender.
Oh, that's a good show.
The Show
there.
Cellar, yes.
That's with Nancy Hill and her ass.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun show.
Yeah, so that I'm doing on the 21st. Do you have anything in between that and the 6th?
Just a bunch of corporates.
Okay. And then, the 6th will be in Nanaimo, December 6th.
At the Globe.
At what?
Isn't it at the Globe? No, it's not.
I thought we were at Nanaimo Bar.
Oh,
Did it get changed again because I set up the...
it is the Nanaimo Bar. You're right.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
I'm doing another different show at the Globe on the 30th of November. I'm doing the roast of Peter Hudson. So...
Yeah, so on the 6th we'll be doing Rolling Thunder at the Nanaimo Bar.
Yeah, so if you're
2 shows, 7 and 9 p.m.
and if you're on the island in the area, come out.
Yeah, tickets on jumpcomedy.com.
Nice.
So that's it.
All right.
Ryan, back again next week.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Chris.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Have a good one.